Let's cut to the chase. You've been lied to. You've been told that learning English is about grammar books, irregular verbs, and sitting in a dusty classroom for hours. That is the biggest scam in the education industry. If that method worked, everyone would be a native speaker by now. Why are you here? You're here because you want a better life. You want a higher salary. You want to travel without fear. And you want to be respected in a global market. But here is the cold, hard truth. Your English will never improve until your mindset does. You can't build a $1 million career with a broke mentality. In 2026, the world doesn't care about your degree. It cares about your ability to communicate value. Look at how the economy is shifting. Everything is digital. Everything is global. If you are locked inside your native language, you are living in a small room while the rest of the world is having a party outside. I want to introduce you to the 1% rule. Most students try to learn 100% in one day. They study for 5 hours on Sunday and then do nothing for the rest of the week. That is a recipe for failure. Your brain doesn't work that way. Success is built through micro habits. I want you to be just 1% better every single day. One new phrase, one podcast, one thought in English. Think of it like an investment account. If you put $1 in every day, you won't see much at first, but compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. After a year, you aren't just a student anymore. You are a speaker. Stop saying, "I'm learning English." That is a weak statement. Start saying, "I am an English speaker who is expanding my vocabulary." Words have power. If you identify as a student, you give yourself permission to fail and stay quiet. If you identify as a speaker, you take responsibility. I've seen people with perfect grammar who can't close a business deal because they lack social intelligence. And I've seen people with broken English who make millions because they have the audacity to speak up. Which one do you want to be? In this series, we aren't just going to look at words. We're going to look at how you spend your time, how you manage your focus, and how you build a routine that makes fluency inevitable. If you're looking for a magic shortcut, leave this video now. But if you are ready to put in the deep work and reclaim your future, then let's get started. Your environment is your silent teacher. If your phone is still in your native language, you are choosing to stay behind. If your social media feed is full of distractions instead of inspirations, you are sabotaging yourself. Change your settings, change your feed, change your life. We're just scratching the surface. This is only the beginning of your transformation. In the next parts, I'm going to break down the exact systems I used to master this language while building my own path. Are you ready to stop making excuses and start making progress? In the first part, we talked about your mindset. Now, let's talk about your bank account. I want to be very blunt with you. If you don't speak English in 2026, you are paying an ignorance tax every single day. What do I mean by an ignorance tax? It's the money you don't earn because you can't access the global market. Think about it. If you only speak your native language, you are limited to a local economy. You're competing with a few million people. But the moment you become fluent in English, your market value explodes. Suddenly, you're competing on a global stage where companies pay in dollars, euros, or Bitcoin. I didn't learn English just to read Shakespeare. I learned it because I wanted to understand how money works. The best books on investment, the latest trends in AI, and the most exclusive business networks are all in English. If you're waiting for a translation, you're already too late. In the world of finance, speed is everything. By the time information is translated into your language, the opportunity is gone. The early birds have already taken the profit.
Let's talk about assets and liabilities. Most people spend their time on liabilities, things that take money out of your pocket. Watching mindless TV shows is a liability, but learning a high-income skill like English, that is an asset. It is an investment that pays you dividends for the rest of your life. I want you to stop treating English like a hobby. A hobby is something you do when you have free time. You will never have free time. You have to make time. Treat your English practice like a high-stakes business meeting. If you had a meeting with a billionaire tomorrow, would you show up late? Would you say, "I'm too tired to talk"? Of course not. Then why do you do that to your future self? Every word you learn, every phrase you master is a brick in the wall of your financial freedom. When you can negotiate a contract in English, when you can pitch your idea to an international investor, or when you can simply work for a remote company from your living room, that is when you win. In this new economy, information asymmetry is your enemy. This happens when one person knows more than the other because they have access to better data. Don't be the person on the losing side of that equation. Use English as your tool to bridge the gap. I want you to start looking at your daily routine through a financial lens. Ask yourself, is this activity moving me closer to fluency and wealth, or is it keeping me stagnant? In the next part, we're going to get practical. I'm going to show you how to build a bulletproof routine that fits into even the busiest schedule. We're going to stop talking about why and start talking about how. Are you ready to invest in yourself?
All right, we've fixed your mindset, and we've identified why English is your financial engine. Now, let's get into the how. Most people fail because they rely on willpower. But willpower is a finite resource. It's like a phone battery. It runs out by the end of the day. If you wait until you're tired after work to study, you've already lost. You don't need more motivation. You need a better system. I call this the bulletproof routine. It's designed to make learning so easy that it becomes harder not to do it. We are going to engineer your day for success. First, we have to talk about time blocking. Your day is full of dead time. Commuting, waiting in line, washing dishes, or even that 15-minute gap between meetings. Most people fill this dead time with mindless scrolling on social media. They are literally throwing their potential in the trash. I want you to reclaim this time. This is your passive learning zone. During these moments, you should always have an English podcast or an audiobook playing in your ears. You don't even have to focus 100%. You are just marinating your brain in the sounds and rhythms of the language. Now, let's talk about your prime time. This is the 1 hour of the day when your brain is sharpest. For most, it's early morning. This is when you do active learning. Not grammar exercises. I want you to do output training. Speak out loud, record yourself, analyze your own voice. Use the shadowing technique where you repeat exactly what I'm saying with the same emotion and the same speed. This builds muscle memory in your tongue and throat. I want you to eliminate the decision fatigue. Don't wake up and ask yourself, "What should I study today?" That question kills progress. Have your material ready the night before. Your book should be open on your desk. Your podcast should be already downloaded. Your sticky notes should be on the fridge. Make the path to learning the path of least resistance. Let's look at your digital environment again. In 2026, we are surrounded by AI. Use it. Have conversations with AI voice assistants in English. Ask them to explain complex topics. If you can explain a financial concept to an AI in English, you can explain it to a human. This is safe practice. No one is judging you, and you can make as many mistakes as you want. But here is the most important part of the routine, the consistency chain.
Never miss 2 days in a row. Missing 1 day is an accident. Missing 2 days is the start of a new habit, a bad one. Even if you only have 5 minutes on a busy day, do those 5 minutes. It's not about the quantity of time, it's about the identity of being someone who shows up every single day. Success is a slow grind. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But with a bulletproof routine, you aren't running blindly. You are moving with purpose. You are building a version of yourself that is unrecognizable to the person you were yesterday. In the next part, we are going to tackle the biggest monster of all, the fear of speaking, the fear of making mistakes, and the imposter syndrome that keeps you silent in meetings. Are you ready to find your voice?
Now that we've cleared the digital noise from your head, it's time to use your voice for what it was meant for: negotiation. In 2026, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. Whether you are asking for a raise, closing a deal with a foreign client, or just trying to get a better price for a service, your ability to handle tension in English is your greatest superpower. Most non-native speakers are terrified of negotiation. Why? Because they are afraid of making a grammar mistake while talking about money. They think, if I say the wrong word, I'll look unprofessional. Let me tell you a secret. In a high-stakes meeting, nobody cares about your prepositions. They care about your confidence and your value proposition. The first rule of negotiation in English is the power of silence. Most people talk too much when they are nervous. They try to fill the air with useless words. When you state your price or your terms, stop. Don't explain. Don't apologize. Silence is a sign of strength. It forces the other person to speak, and usually they will give you more information than they intended. You need to master strategic phrases. Instead of saying, I want more money, which sounds demanding and weak, try, based on my current contributions and the market value for this role, I'd like to discuss an adjustment to my compensation. See the difference? You aren't asking for a favor, you are stating a business fact. Another key technique is mirroring. This is a classic psychological trick. You simply repeat the last 3 words of what the other person said, but as a question. If an employer says, we just don't have the budget for this right now, you say, don't have the budget? This forces them to explain their reasoning, giving you more leverage to find a solution. Remember, negotiation is not a battle, it's a collaboration. You're looking for a win-win scenario, but you can't get to a win-win if you are too afraid to state your bottom line. Your bottom line is the lowest point you are willing to go. If you don't know your number before you enter the room, you've already lost. I want you to practice conflict resolution phrases. Phrases like, I hear what you're saying, however, or let's look at this from another perspective. These are your tools to keep the conversation moving when things get difficult. 2026 is a year of global opportunities. If you can negotiate in English, the whole world is your office. You aren't tied to the local economy anymore. You're a global player. But to play the game, you have to know the rules of the language. Don't let your fear of a broken accent stop you from claiming your worth. A person with an accent who knows how to negotiate will always out-earn a native speaker who is too shy to ask for what they want. In the next part, we're going to discuss social intelligence and networking, how to build a high-value circle of friends and partners using your new English skills. Are you ready to level up your social game? We've talked about money and negotiation, but let's look at the bigger picture. In 2026, your net worth is often determined by your network. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you're in the wrong room, nobody cares. Your English is the key that unlocks the doors to those high-value rooms. Most people use English as a tool for survival, to get through a meeting or order food.
But the winners use English as a tool for connection. They understand social intelligence. This isn't about having a perfect accent. It's about making the other person feel seen, heard, and understood. Have you ever noticed that some people walk into a room and instantly become the center of attention, even if their grammar isn't perfect? That's because they master the art of active listening. In English-speaking cultures, being a good conversationalist is 30% speaking and 70% listening. I want you to learn the power of open-ended questions. Stop asking questions that lead to a simple yes or no. Instead of asking, "Did you like the conference?" ask, "What was your biggest takeaway from the keynote speech?" This forces the other person to share their perspective, and it gives you more social data to work with. Another secret to high-level networking is the bridge technique. When you meet someone new, find a common interest, a bridge. It could be a business goal, a hobby, or even a shared frustration about the industry. Once you find that bridge, the conversation stops being an interview and starts being a relationship. But here is the most important part. Stop being a value taker and start being a value giver. When you meet an influential person, don't immediately ask for a job or a favor. That's a low-value move. Instead, ask yourself, how can I help this person? Maybe you can recommend a book, introduce them to someone in your country, or share a relevant article. When you lead with value, people remember you. In 2026, networking isn't just about physical events. It's about your digital presence, your LinkedIn profile, your comments on professional forums, your emails. This is your social resume. If your written English is sloppy or unprofessional, you are closing doors before you even knock on them. I want you to practice the follow-up habit. After you meet someone interesting, send them a short, professional note within 24 hours. "It was great meeting you yesterday, Mark. I really enjoyed our chat about AI ethics. Looking forward to staying in touch." This simple move puts you in the top 5% of professionals. Most people are too lazy to do it. Don't be afraid of the imposter syndrome. Everyone feels like a fraud sometimes, especially speaking a second language. The key is to fake it until you become it. Act like you belong in the room, and eventually you will. Your voice is your brand. Your words are your currency. Use them wisely. In the next part, we're going to dive into the deep work of mastery, how to actually sit down and learn the complex parts of the language without burning out. We're going to talk about focus, flow, and the science of memory. Are you ready to go deep? We have built the routine, we've tackled the social world, and we've discussed the money. But now I want to take you inside your own brain. Why is it that you can remember a catchy song from 10 years ago, but you forget the English vocabulary you studied yesterday? It's because you aren't using the science of mastery. In 2026, information is infinite, but human focus is shorter than ever. If you want to master English at a native level, you have to stop skimming and start diving. I want to introduce you to a concept called deep work. Most people study with their phone next to them, notifications pinging every 2 minutes. That isn't studying. That's just wasting time. When you enter a deep work session, your phone is in another room, you are 100% present. To lock words into your long-term memory, you need to understand spaced repetition. Your brain is designed to forget. It's a survival mechanism. If you see a word once, your brain thinks it's trash and throws it away. But if you see that word today, then in 2 days, then in a week, and then in a month, you are sending a signal to your subconscious that this information is vital. You are building myelin around your neural pathways. This is how a skill becomes permanent. But mastery isn't just about input. It's about the Feynman technique. This is the ultimate test of your English. If you think you've learned a new concept, try to explain it in simple English to a 6-year-old. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Don't hide behind big academic words. The most powerful speakers in the world use the simplest language to convey the deepest ideas. I also want you to embrace active recall. Stop reading your notes over and over again. That feels like learning, but it's actually an illusion of competence. Instead, close the book and ask yourself, what did I just read? Force your brain to struggle to find the answer. That struggle is the sound of your brain growing. No struggle, no progress. And let's talk about flow state. Have you ever been so immersed in a task that you lost track of time? That is where true mastery happens. To get into a flow state with English, the task must be just slightly above your current level. If it's too easy, you get bored. If it's too hard, you get anxious. Find that sweet spot where you are challenged but not overwhelmed. In 2026, the people who win are the ones who can focus deeply for long periods. While everyone else is distracted by the latest trend, you are building a library of knowledge in your head. You are becoming a cognitive athlete. In the final part of the series, we are going to bring everything together. We are going to discuss your long-term vision and how to stay motivated for the next 10 years, not just the next 10 days. This is where we turn your new skills into a permanent lifestyle. Are you ready for the final chapter?